I'm spending a little time knitting this morning and trying to finish my book, but I keep thinking about something Rachel Maddow said the other day. So I thought I would just pause my book for a second and talk about it. She was referencing the No King's Day protests on Saturday, and she was saying, this is not a resistance against Trump. Like, this is a full-blown opposition. This is an opposition party against Trump. Millions and millions and millions of regular Americans are the opposition against the Trump regime. She went on to say, but like visibly, demonstrably, we can see that the opposition is growing very swiftly. Not just from the increasing number of protests that are happening, not just from the sustained boycotts, economic resistance that's happening, not just from the fact that every protest results in more and more people turning out, right? Like the numbers are growing in those physical public demonstrations. But also, she didn't say this, but Ezra talks about it every single week in our Indivisible meetings, that we are still in this wave moment where grassroots organizations, pro-democracy organizations, are seeing increased membership, are seeing more and more chapters get added, right? Indivisible still has something like 7 to 10 chapters a week that are being added around the country. Just huge, explosive growth in the pro-democracy, anti-Trump, anti-fascist grassroots movement. We're mobilizing, we're organizing, we're aggregating power such that we're not just some small resistance group. We are now a large public opposition. And that's awesome. That's well and good. I think that everybody is aware that the resistance is growing, right? It's now so prominent that even corporate legacy media has to cover it. But the thing that Rachel said in her segment that I hadn't really thought about as much as I should have, and that's why it keeps coming up in my mind now. I was like, damn, that's such a good point. Is that not only is the opposition very vocal and growing swiftly, but that the Trump regime is doing nothing to build political capital. We are watching Trumpers defect on a daily basis. In fact, later today, I want to talk about some folks who are coming out on social media as former, Trump supporters. They voted for Trump and now they feel absolutely betrayed and they want nothing to do with him, right? Trump is losing support on a daily basis. We saw that with his military birthday parade, what an absolute flop it was. Only 10,000 people showed up. Just an absolutely pathetic turnout. What Trump is doing, every single thing that he is trying to enact in this country, every horrible, cruel, chaotic policy that he is trying to implement, every overstep that he is committing, every time he is trying to wreck something that we all care about, he's bleeding support. He's pissing off his own voter base. And what he's doing with Iran is just going to make that exponentially worse. He's doing nothing to draw supporters into MAGA. He's doing nothing to build his political capital. And as we're looking forward to the 2026 midterms, and also we're looking at special elections that are happening nonstop in the United States right now. We need to be thinking about that reality. We need to not rest comfortably on our laurels about it, but we need to be accurately assessing the support for Trump and the lack thereof. It's not just that the opposition is growing. It's not just that people who were like undecided before are now deciding that they are going to stand up against Trump. It's not just that people who were previously maybe apathetic have decided that they are finding their courage and that they are going to speak out. It's actually not just that Trump himself is bleeding supporters, former Trump voters, whether they were like, I'm going to vote for him because I think he's going to make the economy better. I'm going to vote for him because he promised to be a no-war president who would make sure that world peace happens. Whether they voted for him because they're, a little bit or a lot bit racist. Maybe they voted for him because they believe the lies about our immigrants in the United States. Maybe those are reasons they voted for Trump. They weren't diehard MAGA. That contingent of Trump voters, yeah, they are sorely disappointed on a regular basis. They are starting very quickly to move away from him. They're not afraid to voice their critiques of him. They're not afraid to voice their dissatisfaction. And even diehard MAGA, the bloom is off the rose for a lot of them. Sure, there is that chunk of folks who are, completely brainwashed by Fox News propaganda. They get their news from Truth's, word vomit on his failing social media platform, Truth Social, which is soon set to be a penny stock. Yeah, we don't necessarily have to try and convert those folks. That's fine. We don't have to reach them. It's not our job to try and save them or to try and deprogram them. They have to do that in their own time. But the crucial thing that we need to understand in all of this dynamic is that he's not building any new support. He's not gaining any new fans. He's not winning over any Americans. His cabinet picks are consistently embarrassing and or concerning and or humiliating and or pissing off more and more Americans. His own policy choices are pissing off more and more Americans. He is doing nothing to build his coalition, to build his base. And again, we shouldn't rest on our laurels about that, but it's important to accurately assess what's happening. So not only is the opposition growing by the day, and it is a massive, powerful, determined opposition that has the endurance to keep going and the momentum to build the power, to build the muscles that will erode the support under Trump. And speaking of eroding the support under Trump, all of the folks who have been standing by him are now looking and saying, oh boy, he looks weak and sad and tired and old. And he looks like he is waning in popularity every single day. June 14th was a day where his supporters were like, oh, do we really want to be behind this guy? There's no energy behind Trump. There's no momentum behind him. That's why he has to constantly try and crack down. That's why he's trying to use the military. That's why he's trying to intimidate all of us. That's why he's trying to use fear, terror to get people to comply, because he doesn't have the popular support. He doesn't have the people behind him. And this is just spelling absolute doom for Trump and the MAGA agenda, right? The opposition is growing by the day. Trump is bleeding support, and he's doing nothing. There's nothing he's doing that will build his power, that will build support from the people, that will build a mandate behind him. We are aggregating our power. We are building a strong, vocal opposition of tens of millions and hundreds of millions of people. Trump is just losing power and influence and support on a daily basis, and there's nothing he's able to do to counteract that. So take courage in that. Lots of dark things in the news right now, but we need to be reminding ourselves what's true. So just remember, we are rising. Trump is deflating. His support is dwindling, and there's nothing he can do to counteract that.